Hi Virgo, this is Tisch Aitken, and this is your monthly report for the month of January. Pretty incredible to say that given the year that we've had, but we have had a crazy year of Capricorn, of collapsing of old structures in our lives, and on a mass level, because Saturn and Pluto met up at the world axis on January 12th and changed the world for all of us. And we're all reconciling that story now. And at the end of 2020, Saturn, which had been transiting in the sign of Capricorn since December 20th of 2017, entered the sign of Aquarius, which also rules in ancient astrology, but it's not as heavy and karmic and restrictive. And Jupiter, which is the planet of higher learning and expansion and optimism, entered the sign of Aquarius on December 19th. And the two met up on the winter solstice on December 21st and formed what's known as a great cycle, which occurs every 20 years. And this induces great societal change and a whole new era in our lives. And so that began right on the solstice. Now for you, you've been dealing with this whole Capricorn tale in your house of creativity and children and romance, and obviously it hasn't been particularly romantic, or it could be a creative time under a lot of challenges and restrictions, and trying to create under duress is kind of how it's felt for many creative types, and many have been impassioned to do great things during this time, but it's been a very, very painful time. And now in the age of Aquarius, all of this energy for you falls in your house of work and service, and that is the Virgo house in astrology, the sixth house. And what other sign other than you would be better at helping others to take care of themselves and help people as we transition in a very historical time. So we begin the year on January 1st. Mercury, which is transiting in the sign of Capricorn in your house of creativity and self-expression, forms a beautiful sextile to Neptune, which is an aspect of opportunity. And Neptune is transiting in your house of relationships, and that can be very good for reflecting on how you want to manifest and what you want to create for the year of 2021, and even for romantic or creative intentions with others, with partnering with others going forward. On January 4th, Mercury meets up with Pluto in the sky, which can be very intense, and people can be a bit a little harsh with that energy, but in the same vein, it can be very good at doing investigative work and uncovering truth and information. On the 6th of January, Mars, which has been transiting in the sign of Aries since June 27th, exits the sign of Aries and enters the sign of Taurus, which is in your house of higher learning and education and teaching and promotion. And it'll be there until March 5th. Excellent energy if you're taking or teaching classes or webinars this year, if you're promoting yourself, if you have your own business, if you're marketing yourself, if you're looking for a job, promoting yourself in that way. Excellent energy, excellent for taking and teaching classes. And then on the 8th of January, we have two planetary sign changes. So Mercury enters the sign of Aquarius, where it's going to be transiting until March 15th of this year. And it's pretty interesting because it's going to retrograde on January 30th at 26 degrees of Aquarius. So you get a whole glimpse of what the next couple of years is going to be like, with Mercury almost transiting the entire sign of Aquarius. And then Venus changes signs and enters the sign of Capricorn, which is in your house of romance and creativity, and it's going to be there until February 2nd. So that can be very good for romantic opportunities, for creative ventures, and hopefully having a little bit of fun and joy in a difficult time. So that's going on. And then on the 12th of January, Venus, which is transiting in Capricorn, squares Chiron, the wounded healer. And that can be painful energy around wounds around love or vulnerability. And let's see, Mercury in Aquarius squares Uranus in Taurus, and that can also be, it can be very innovative, but it can be anxious and unpredictable energy. And as we approach the middle of the month, there's much more Uranian energy, which also is very Aquarian, because Uranus is the modern ruler of Aquarius, and it represents ingenuity and brilliance and chaos and disruption and rebellion. And so that energy is very, very strong. And on the 13th of January, we have a new moon that occurs at 23 degrees and 17 minutes of the sign of Capricorn, and it takes place at 12 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. A new moon is always an excellent time for setting intentions and planting new seeds, but this new moon defaults back to the Saturn-Pluto conjunction that took place on January 12th and changed the entire world. And also on that day, Mars in Taurus is squaring Uranus in, Saturn in Aquarius. And that can feel very restrictive and very just kind of irritating energy. So that's not the easiest new moon, but still set intentions and try to work as well as you can with that. On the following day, on January 14th, the sun meets up with Pluto in the sky, and that can signify endings, and again underscores the whole year we've been going through and that Saturn-Pluto conjunction. And also on that date, Uranus stations direct, adding more Uranian energy, and we feel that energy 5 days before and 5 days after. And Uranus stations direct at 6 degrees of Taurus in your house of higher learning and education. And again, that can feel very, very unpredictable and chaotic, and just recognizing that that energy is very much at play. But nonetheless, just working with it as much as we can. On the 19th of January, we have, let's see, the sun enters the sign of Aquarius in your house of service and daily routine. It'll be there until February 19th of this year, and just adding more, hopefully more optimism to your work. On the 20th of January, Mars meets up with Uranus in the sign of Taurus, and that can be very unpredictable energy. People can get easily triggered and lose their tempers very easily. It can be very innovative, but it can be accident prone, and it can be also difficult with machinery. So just recognizing that that's a little bit, that is a turbulent day. On the 23rd of January, we have very nice energy. Venus, which is in your house of romance and creativity, forms a beautiful sextile to Neptune in Pisces, in your house of relationships, and that is very romantic and creative energy. And on that same day, Mars in Taurus forms a square to Jupiter in Aquarius, and that can exaggerate the energy, but it also can be a lot of good fortune and good things going on. On the 26th of January, the sun in Aquarius squares Uranus in Taurus, and that can be unpredictable energy as well. And on that day, Neptune in Pisces, in your house of relationships, squares the nodes of fate, and that can be very creative, but that can be very sensitive energy. It can dissolve connections. It can be very intuitive, and you can make spiritual contacts that day. But again, it's going to be kind of intense. And then on the 28th of January, we have a full moon that takes place at 9 degrees and 6 minutes of the sign of Leo in your 12th house of the subconscious mind. You might get very intense dreams that day. It's a good time for manifesting and letting go of things. It occurs at 2:16 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and on that date, Venus meets up with Pluto in your house of romance and creativity. It can be very passionate and romantic energy, but can also be difficult with relationships. Some could end on that date. And then on the 30th of January, Mercury, which is the ruler of your sign, retrogrades at 26 degrees of Aquarius, and you'll have a review period in your house of routine and habits, and hopefully you're taking good care of yourself during this time where you're trying to help others and do your work and get organized, because you're going to have a lot of work to do with Saturn transiting in your house of work and daily routine and health and habits. It's the big focus for you the next 2 years until March of 2023. Thankfully, you also have Jupiter in this house as well, on and off until December 29th of 2021. So you have a lot of opportunity for new work, hopefully new opportunities to heal yourself emotionally, physically, get into the routine again of exercise and good nutrition and taking care of yourself and all the Virgo habits that you generally innately have, because this is the house of nutrition and daily routine. So I wish you a lot of luck and thank you very much. Take care.